heard a lot about Samaj and Fred. We saw the clip of Samaj with the one-handed grab. How have you seen them improve this offseason?
They're older, more experienced. They just attacked the offseason. They knew last year wasn't up to our standard, and they challenged themselves. They challenged our room to be better. And then those guys, being juniors now, been around the program, their third year. They've been on the national championship team. They understand what the standards are, and daily, every day, they chasing excellence.
Anthony Simpson, now you've been able to work out with him since the last time we've talked to you. What kind of player is he? Where do you kind of see him fitting in?
Yeah, he's a good player. Explosive, comes with production. Very familiar with a lot of things that we do. Where he came from, his last stop, and his relationship with Coach Kasula, and he's been a great addition to our room. Just another veteran presence, a guy that does things the right way, loves football, and it's been spreading in our room.
Tony?
Yeah, Ron, you said how last year it wasn't really up to your guys' standard. It's been a little while since there was a 1,000-yard receiver in the room, I guess, with a new offense. How eager are you to maybe sort of rewrite the script of what's been going on lately?
2013 Jeremy Gallon, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, no, that's something we talk about. The guys, obviously as a group collectively, our goal is to win, beat our rivals, win the conference and win a national championship. But the guys do have individual goals, and they understand, the history of the receiver room in Michigan, and it's what Coach Lindsay's bringing, and what he's doing, what we're doing as an offense. It's been great. Been great for receivers. Been great for the team.
The player and the year offhand. I know everything about Michigan football, but does it mean something to you? Are you ready to change that number?
Absolutely. Every year. You. I felt like in 23, I felt like Roman was close to eclipsing that. We chose not to. We're a very dominant team, and a lot of I believe 6 or 7 fourth quarters he didn't play in. That we didn't chase that number, and it allowed guys like Samaj and Fred more to play their freshman year. So, we're not a program that chases numbers. We're more on the developmental side of things. But, it does come. That's something that we talk about. The boys know that. Last 1,000-yard receiver has been Gallon, and, hopefully we can change that this year. But, we rather win. Hopefully we can win and do that. That'd be great.
And right here, Austin.
Ron, what did you learn about your guys in the scrimmage, and maybe particularly some of those guys that haven't had any chances to play in the stadium under the lights and all that?
Yeah, just the thing I feel really good about our group is we're deeper. We're deeper than we've been in years past, and you have just to name a few, Kendrick Bell and Peyton O'Leary, guys like that. Obviously, you mentioned Fred and Samaj, and McCully's played a lot of football, and having a guy like Simpson and Joe Taylor and Channing Goodwin, Marion Stewart, those guys are older, and then you bring the 3 freshmen in, Marsh, Browder, and Jacob Washington. So we feel like our room is much deeper than it has been last year, even the years past. So what that means for us is competition. Depth means competition, and the guys got to bring it every day. Because the best guys, the best players, are going to play.
On the left, Ryan.
How many of your guys can play multiple receiver spots, slot outside, and who are some of those guys that you move around the most?
I would say most of them. Most of them can play multiple positions. They're pretty smart football players. I think intentionally when we recruit guys that can do that. We know can do that, especially we shift, we move a lot. We ask a lot from our receivers in that regard. Rather not tell you who could do that or who we do that with, but overall, just most of the guys can do it. They're pretty sharp.
And how much easier is it to sell the offense to receiver recruits now that you have Bryce Underwood in the fold?
I feel like they like Bryce more than they like me. But it's great. Bryce is great. When the kids come on campus, he's especially with the receiver position, he makes sure he spends time with them, and I think that's important, right? It's important for him developing relationships with guys he's potentially going to be throwing to.
On the right here, Dennis.
McCully, you mentioned him. Outside, it seems like there's a lot of people think he can be big time. What do you see from him? How good do you think he can be?
Man, I tell you what, his work ethic's second to none. He loves working. He's, first one out there, last one out there. Reserve guy, doesn't say much, but he shows up in the run game, loves to block, pass game. He's just right now just refining his tool set. Just making sure the top of the route's clean. ball skills are pretty elite. Like he's doing the things that we're asking him to do, and he's doing good things.
He mentioned Browder was just a little bit taller than him, but he also said if he stayed aggressive, and he said he thinks he will, that he could be kind of like him. Do you see the similarities in the two of them? What are they?
Yeah, 6'5", big guys. Both guys can run and jump. You look at their athletic traits. Obviously, McCully, having been his 5th year in college, and Browder being his 1st year, he's a little bit more physically developed than Browder. He's a little bit more experienced as a route runner, different things of that nature. But you could tell Jamar he watches everything that Donovan does and tries to emulate it. And to me, that's exciting when you see young guys doing that, as opposed to saying, well, let me do it my way, and then if it doesn't work, so be it. But he's trying to emulate McCully as much as possible.
In the back there, Charles.
Yeah, how would you evaluate what you've seen from the passing game so far, and specifically the quarterbacks?
Yeah, quarterback's been awesome, man. It's great competition with those guys, man. Just having the addition of Jake and Jaden, JD2's balling, and Bryce and Mikey. Those guys are doing a heck of a job, man. And Chase Herbstreit, those guys are really, when Chase gets his opportunity, he's doing some great things as well. So it's as a receivers coach, you're super, obviously you're watching those guys, on a daily basis, and watching them compete and, watching them get better and better each and every day, and you put more and more in their play. It's been awesome to see their development.
What do you think is the potential of the passing game?
Sky's the limit, for us. It's quarterback, receivers on the same page. I know Coach Moore, Coach Lindsay feel very confident that we can throw the football, and, we just got to do it. Can't talk about it, got to do it, It's great to do the stuff between the week, in Schembechler, but you got to do it on Main Street, and that's our goal. We got to keep attacking it and, keep getting better and better every day, challenge each other.
Right here, Aaron.
Among the receivers you brought in this year and maybe last year, are there any of those guys you could see getting snaps early this year?
Talking about the 24 and the 25 receiver class? Yeah, for sure. Now, we're excited, man. Like I told you, this is great competition. And the one thing, for me is it doesn't matter if you're a freshman. If you are ready to play, you're going to go out there and play, get reps. You just got to be dependable. Got to make plays when opportunity presents itself, and, do things the right way. And, great competition. The guys are flashing every day. Impressed with this group of freshmen, and then last year's group of freshmen with Amarion Stewart and Channing Goodwin.
Now, speaking of stats, Don McCully said his goal this year is 1,000 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns. Do you welcome those types of?
Absolutely, because he puts himself in a position every day to try to achieve those stats, right? And he understands, it's team goals over individual goals, but the better our team, the better chances individual goals are going to be reached.
Tony.
Have there been any defensive backs that have been particularly sticky on the guys? Like, I'm sure you're watching both sides of it. Like, who stood out to you so far this fall?
Yeah, I love, Jair. Jair's balling. Jair's doing good. Zeke Berry, Caleb, Coach Morgan has experience with him. My fellow Louisianan. Who else? Shamari Earls. He's doing well. Really like him. Kid has a really very bright future. Jaden Sanders, freshman from Texas. We didn't get a chance to see him in spring. He came in the summertime, and he's doing some good things. You can see him flashing. Talking about the corners. I think those guys in particular. I think Coach Morgan's done a phenomenal job with him. Him and his defensive guys. Those guys are gonna be pretty good. I'm excited about them.
And just one more on the quarterbacks. Some people haven't mentioned Mikey when they're throwing on lists. Is he going in full?
Yeah, Mike is doing things. Yeah, Mike is doing things.
Individual, or is he playing?
He's doing everything.
Next question in the back on the right, Zach.
Ron, how do you feel like Chip Lindsay in year one has done adjusting both Michigan's scheme in general as well as just kind of implementing his own flair?
It's been great. He's a smart guy. He's been around a lot of great ball coaches. He's a smart guy. He's understands what Michigan is, who Michigan is, how our brand of football. So he's done a phenomenal job, and the buy-in with the kids has been very, very high.
We've got time for a few more. Go with Alejandro.
Looking at Andrew Marsh's recruiting profile, polish is a word that comes up a lot. What does that look like in practice, and how does that contribute to him potentially impacting this season?
Yeah, no, that's why we love him. As you watch him in recruiting, watching his high school tape, he's a young man that, is polished, fast, gets in out of breaks, has a big, catch radius, super competitive. We've seen all those things. I'm super excited. Like any young guy, you're chasing details every day. Just him learning the offense, not just plays, learning exactly where to be, what to do. If this happens, what is my adjustment to that? So he's learning all those little nuances, but he's flash, man. I'm excited to see his career take off. He's a great football player, but a better person. Really love him.
Good on Jacob Washington. I'm sure he's still
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, same thing. Same thing I was saying earlier about Jaden Sanders, right? Jacob, now the things that we loved about him was a tall guy, rangy, 6'3", could run. Not a Louisiana guy. I'm gonna shout out my Louisiana guys. But he came in, so he's learning, right? He didn't have an opportunity to do spring ball, and he's learning the position, and he's doing well. He's right where we want him to be at, and it's going to take some time to get that playbook fully detailed out. But he's making plays. Opportunity comes to him, but he can run. He's a long guy that can run.
Angelique?
Ron, I was just wondering, who's your most physical receiver?
McCully.
What has he done to show you that?
Very physical in the run game. I think a lot of times, especially coming from the place he came, he's a former quarterback, so I think the mindset is you're a former quarterback, so you're not as tough as the other positions, and I think he wanted to establish that first off. I think he did that in spring ball, something he continues to carry over in training camp, and he's been a physical presence. It's been infectious in our room where some of the younger guys see that and they want to emulate that, and it's not just a run game, it's the pass game as well. He's a physical presence. He's showing up, you want to press him, working to get off releases, making contested plays. I love it. I love everything about him. Keep him going in the right direction.
That wasn't really my second question. This is my second question.
What
does the one jersey mean to you?
Special. I think of one. I think of someone that represents the receiver room. Utmost respect. A ball player. Big-time ball player. Someone that demands a double team. Someone demands the football. The ball has to go through that person. I think of some of the greats that have played the position. One of the things we do when we start camp, anytime really, is Dave actually, helped me make this tape, just receivers of the past that, everyone talks about other schools and their receivers, and a lot of it is recent success, but, historically we've had this over years, decades. And, we showed them the history of Michigan football, and they're just, even the newcomers, they're like, wow. And we got to get it back there, any way, shape, or form. It's exciting. I had an opportunity I was blessed to play with 2 top 10 draft picks in David Terrell and Braylon, and Marquise wasn't too far off from being a first-round pick as well, 3 first-team All-Americans. And I'm not saying we're there, but I think we can step in the right direction, just, getting guys that look like those guys in that room. And, we're chasing that daily. Having Soup back too, that's a breath of fresh air for me, having my mentor, my big brother in a room with us, and, just kind of cultivating that culture.
Last question, Clayton.
When you look at Fred's growth, one, he's gotten bigger. 2, he had the big bowl game touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
How much better is he now than he was a year ago at this time coming into this season? What are your expectations for him?
Fred's thing now is you're not a freshman when you played as a sophomore. We counting on you. You're an older guy, and the word we're chasing for him daily is confidence. And the more confident, that was Jair. He's trying to distract me. The more confident he is, the better player he is, and that's something that he came in camp super confident, like you said, changed his body up, stronger player, more experienced. The best thing that happened to him was the success he had in the bowl game. Now it's like, oh yeah, I know I can do this. Now it's time to take that momentum and carry it over to the 25 football season.